in the physical world, in the regular life, you know, where we're all people and stuff and we got to pay taxes and got to fill our cars with gas and pay the rent, you know, or we could be just enjoying the expansiveness and getting our minds blown every day.
You're listening to the Spiritual Shitshow podcast with Suzanne Sole, episode
79. Hello, all you delicious motherfuckles, and welcome to the Spiritual Shitshow podcast, where we get into the wild ride the healing and spiritual awakening journey can be. I'm your host, Suzanne Sole, comedian, lifelong spiritual student, and I'm sharing the gems that I've learned along my journey that have helped me and that I hope help you too. And we're back, finally, to my series on the power of myth. If you're new to it all, you might be like, what's the power of myth? And I would answer delightfully, why, Joseph Campbell and the Power of Myth is an acclaimed 6-part PBS series originally aired in 1988, featuring journalist Bill Moyers in conversation with celebrated author and mythologist Joseph Campbell to talk about mythology, how mythology points to the unknown, universal mythological themes across cultures, and how myths and archetypes are still running this show today. Hooray! So we're going to continue to talk about that deliciousness right now. And FYI, you can listen to my series on the power of myth in any order you like. Episode links are in the show notes for your dawning pleasure. And real quick, because I reference this man so casually, like we all went to brunch with him, let me tell you that Joseph Campbell was one of the most influential mythologists of the 20th century and spent his life studying world religions, sacred texts, and myths from every culture imaginable. He was a teacher and author. He wrote a bunch of groundbreaking books, including the famous The Hero with a Thousand Faces. And George Lucas was so influenced by Campbell, he said, if there was no Joe Campbell, there would be no Star Wars. So, yeah, he was prolific. And listen to this, guys. Joe passed away before the PBS Power of Myth series ever aired. Yeah. So what I'm saying is the entire Power of Myth series. He built it, walked away, and then it aired into the world without him. He never saw the broadcast that changed so many people's lives, which honestly feels very on brand for a man who spent his life talking about the mystery of being. Very mysterious, Joe. Very mysterious. Anyway, for real, I am such a huge fan of Campbell as well as of The Power of Myth that I have easily watched the whole series over 100 times. Obsessive? Maybe. But I mean, look at me now, doing a podcast about it in my guest room. Anywho, speaking of my podcast, back to the episode at hand. And this is part 9 of my series, That Time the Power of Myth Blew My Fucking Mind series, where I talk about the power of myth and how it blew my motherfucking mind because it blew my motherfucking mind. Okay, now you might be like, part 9. The PBS Power of Myth documentary series is a 6-part series, girl. And then I would be like, yeah, that's right, a 6-part series that cracked me open, changed my life, and gave me all kinds of feels for a really long time. Over and over 100 times, times 6. So that's like at least over 600 times. So I made it into more than 6 parts because that's how much I fucking love it. Okay, smarty pants? And maybe I'll make it into 100 parts because nobody can stop me. So to stay on brand, I made the 6th and final part of the actual Power of Myth series into a 3-parter because it was jam-packed with amazing crap to talk about and because I can do whatever the fuck I want. Okay? How do you like them apples? Anywho, I'm super excited to be chitty-chatting about what I think is one of the most mind-blowing segments of the Power of Myth series, and that is Masks of Eternity. Masks of what? Is this an episode about cosplay? Kinda. Masks of Eternity expresses the idea that everything we see, feel, think, and experience in our known reality is eternity in costume. And we're all part of the show. Now you might be like, girl, it's been a long time since I went to a Grateful Dead show. drank some special tea and had my mind blown. I'm gonna need a translation. Okay, babe, I got you. Let's start with this title, Masks of Eternity. And we're gonna talk about the eternity part first. I know it's backwards, but trust me on this. So, firstly, eternity isn't about time. It isn't forever. It's the ever-present reality which is beyond time, but at the same time, it's right now. Cue the mind explosion. In The Power of Myth, Campbell says, eternity isn't a long time. It's the boundless, ever-present, timeless ground of existence, expressing itself through all forms, all beings, all moments. The ultimate, transcendent reality that is us and everything around us, and that cannot be completely explained, only experienced. Like a bologna sandwich. Okay, now here comes the masks part. Okay? Time, my friend, is the way we measure our experience of living, which is one of these masks Campbell's talking about. Because eternity isn't bound by time. Time requires change, sequence, and measurement. Time exists because things change. And eternity is the ever-present reality. It's the changeless, constant presence in which all the change is taking place. There's all kinds of stuff, aka masks, we use to express and experience eternity besides time, like words, thoughts, things, even ourselves. It is all a bunch of masks in our known reality that express eternity in our physical world. And to really drive it home, the word eternity is a mask for eternity. I told you, you might want to strap yourself to something while you listen to this. So eternity shows up in our experience through masks like time, our own selves, our lives, everything we can see and interact with. Okay, and as a side note, I just want to say that this is not like a mask like a fake person or like a mask someone wears because they're acting fake. It's like a mask in a costume or at a Mardi Gras parade that is dressed as the part of the mystery in the physical world in a way we can experience the mystery of being through it. And so now you might be like, okay, but like, where does eternity even come from? What's the source of it? What's even the source of our existence? And I tell you, there's a mask for that. To fully grasp the Masks of Eternity episode, we can look to one of the things I love most about Joseph Campbell's writing and teachings, and that is his honor and appreciation of the mystery of being itself, that which transcends all beingness, the source of existence. We feel it, we try to explain it, but it cannot be fully contained in thought or language. It is more expansive than we can even hold in our little noggins. That's why they got to have the masks, because, our brains would explode. We need that mask. And Campbell said, anyone who has had an experience of mystery and awe knows that there is a dimension that is not available to the senses. And so those masks are all the concepts, ideas, words, and images we use to represent the ultimate reality of being that is manifest on this physical planet, because what it actually is unfathomable to us, in the physical world, in the regular life, where we're all people and stuff and we got to pay taxes and gotta fill our cars with gas and pay the rent, or we could be just enjoying the expansiveness and getting our minds blown every day. But we can't, because we're people and humans and stuff. We have to live in the Maya and the illusion where the energy of the ultimate reality of being can express itself via masks, like a really fun Mardi Gras, except for it, just keeps going for hundreds and hundreds and thousands of years. Across cultures, across centuries, across every corner of human experience, the mystery has been given many names. God, Brahman, Allah, the Tao, the Great Spirit, the ground of being, pure consciousness, and on and on and on into infinity. Oh, wait, what a great pun. It really does go into infinity. I got to write that down. Not one of these names is the actual mystery of being. They're all human attempts to point to it. Campbell saw all of these masks, each one a genuine, meaningful reach towards something that exists beyond the grasp of any single name and is a way for us to participate in the wonder of life. Campbell talked about a wonderful saying in one of the Upanishads. When before a sunset or a mountain and the beauty of this or that, you pause and say, ah, that is participation in divinity. He said, and I think that's what it is. It's the realization of wonder and also the experience of tremendous power, which people, of course, living in the world of nature are experiencing all the time. There's something there that's much bigger than the human dimension. So the idea is that the mystery is the source existing behind all of it, aka what every mask is trying to dress up and point to. Campbell said, God is a thought. God is an idea, but its reference is to something that transcends all thinking, even beyond being, and even beyond the category of being or non-being. And I don't know how you can be beyond the category of non-being, but I feel pretty nonplussed about it. JK, I love it. Campbell says, every god, every mythology, every religion is true in this sense. It is true as metaphorical of the human and cosmic mystery. And BT dubs, when Campbell uses the term metaphorical, he's referring to the ability of a story, image, or symbol to bypass the thinking mind and deliver a direct felt experience that cannot be explained, but that the essence of who we are already knows and can understand, but has no words for. Kind of like how stories can communicate to the deeper part of us. Like in Cinderella, when the stepmother and the stepsisters were being mean to Cinderella and making her scrub everything and then left her at home while they went to the ball. We all felt that shit. Am I right? I mean, sometimes mixed families work. Sometimes they don't. What are you going to do? It's like metaphors are a way of communicating that cut through the survival brain barrier. The part of your brain that's like the overthinker. I don't know. I've heard that before. I don't know if that's true. How can I believe you? Like if I say life is complicated, your brain nods, yeah. But if I say life is a garden, suddenly your whole system feels it. You sense the garden. You sense life, the seasons, growth, things dying, things coming back. You're not just thinking about the word life or life in a semantics way. You're thinking about life as connected to the earth, and you're thinking about your connection to the earth, and it is a felt, sensual experience of the life that is in you and that is also in the earth, and the metaphor of the growing and the plants and the life experience that is an activity in a garden. It's so sensory, and it goes right to a place in you that can feel it. And when we look to spirituality and religion to experience that connection with the mystery and source of our being, that's what Campbell says every god, every myth, every religion is doing. Think about what you feel when you see the cross, or the image of Buddha sitting in meditation, or Shiva dancing in a ring of fire. Nobody usually needs to explain the impact those images have on you. You just feel it. You see the image and something in you responds before your brain has said a single word about it. The image isn't talking about or explaining the mystery to you. It's delivering it straight to you, right into your feels, senses, and your body in real time. Even words can do that in a way that touches us deep within in what and how they express. And we feel that connection to the source of our life and the mystery of being, of everything. Campbell says it so beautifully. There is an old story that is still good. The story of the quest, the spiritual quest. That is to say, to find the inward thing that you basically are. You are God in your deepest identity. You are one with the transcendent. Not as a concept, not as a belief, as a fact of your being. Those may be pretty bold words to some people, but Campbell, through his study of religions and ancient wisdom, throughout time kept coming back to this understanding that it was all pointing to making meaning of that transcendent energy that is what animates who we are. So we cannot be the created and not also be part of the creator. So when we think about it in those kinds of mechanics and that kind of understanding, it only seems logical that we are what has created us. And the thing is like, we're not talking about like ego. I think what gets confused is that some people relate this to like an egotistical version of I am God, I am a God. That is not what's being discussed. That is the mask acting out the play that, oh, they said I'm God, so now I'm going to smite people when traffic's bad. He's talking about what's underneath it all, what's behind it all, what is within the deepest essence of it all. The part of us that was never born and never dies, which honestly is a lot to sit with over your 2-pump vanilla latte on a Thursday. I get it. It's a lot. But he's not talking to your ego. Not the you that has a name and a job and an opinion about the self-checkout line at the grocery store. And I think that's where some people get a little freaked out about these kinds of ideas. Because the ego hears, you are God in your deepest self, and immediately pictures a planet full of maniacs with permission slips. I mean, I'm God. I could do whatever I want, right? Not in the physical world, you can't. Not on planet Earth, you can't. But that's not what Campbell's pointing at. He's pointing at the part of you that is already it, quietly, underneath all the noise, the part that doesn't need to earn it or prove it or figure it out. It just is and always has been. So there's actually nothing to be afraid of. You're not being handed something dangerous. You're just being reminded of something you never lost. So basically, everything is happening inside this field of existence, and there's nothing outside of it. You're in it, and you are it, and you're expressing it. Now, how much would you pay? And to enjoy this whole theatrical experience, masks of eternity are here for you. So now you might be like, hold up, girl. Are eternity and the mystery the same thing? And I would be like, well, to us, they're basically the same with a twist. But sidebar, in ultimate reality speak, aka no masks required, everything is the same thing. But we have masks because conceptual reality strikes again. So there is a slight difference in how we perceive these two ideas, aka masks. Okay, check it out. Eternity is the infinite, unending reality we already live inside of and are. The mystery is the idea of the source of being of that reality, which cannot be fully grasped or comprehended by us. Like, there are no words, actually, for real, like in the most literal sense you could ever say that phrase, is this one. So symbols, stories, practices, rituals are the masks of eternity that let us feel the mystery in as much a way as we can comprehend. And eternity is constantly shaping itself into everything we experience as life, what we can meet, experience, and be. Why, hello, I'm eternity. You look nothing like your profile picture. And we're in on it, too. We're not just people walking around shopping, drinking coffee, and brushing our teeth. We're living masks of eternity. Okay? Our personalities, our voices, our humor, our history, we're expressions of eternity and the great mystery of being. So think about that next time you feel like you're not good enough. Okay, Cookie? And many times when we encounter other masks, we have moments of recognition. Something in us feels the connection. Why? Because it's coming from the same source we are. I mean, now how much would you pay? Infinity dollars. Of course. So masks of eternity is a way to explain the fact that everything we see, feel, think, relate to, and are is eternity expressing in our known version of reality, giving us a way to experience that which, in its pure form, is too vast for us to hold directly with our human brainsies. And the wild part is that even though we're not just observing that process, we're one of the ways it's happening, it is so easy. for us to forget that because those darn masks are so convincing. I mean, you gotta give it to eternity. Those masks are so lifelike. They're vivid, they're immediate, sensory, emotional. Our jobs, our relationships, our conversations, our bodies, our reactions, even our own experiences of ourselves. So fucking loud, sometimes you can't even hear the eternal underneath it. This place is so loud I can't even hear my own eternity. Those masks seem like the star of the show a lot of the times. And then our attention goes straight to, what did she mean by that email? Why didn't they respond? Am I okay? Did I do that wrong? And yes, all of that is still happening within the ultimate reality of eternity, but it's happening in a very zoomed in way. So our consciousness tightens its lens so we can get in there to survive, protect, control, achieve. And now our attention is only on the mask and no longer at all aware of being a part of the expanse. And we feel kind of poopy because we don't realize we feel cut off from eternity, even though we never are. And then there are other times. A walk in nature, a hug from someone we haven't seen in a long time, a beautiful experience in meditation, sitting in a cathedral, and our lens widens and we remember what is true, that we are a part of it all, that we are it all, experiencing it all. Whoa. I hope you're still strapped in. Not that we need to transcend the mask, not that we can't, not that we need to stay in some permanent state of cosmic awareness, which would, of course, would be amazing, but, the world of duality. Maybe even just right now, knowing that underneath it all, there is something that has never once stopped being whole. And that's you. And it's always been you, babe. Join me for part 2 of my 3-parter about the masks of eternity. We're going to go even deeper into what Campbell has to say about all this, including about mythology and God and the transcendent and how all of that actually has to do with us relating to ourselves and each other more than we may think. Anyways, as always, this has been the Spiritual Shitshow podcast. My name is Suzanne Sole. I would like to thank your precious ass self for listening, and I will see you on the next one. Roll it, you gorgeous expressions of eternity, you.